This is the Zoom H4n audio recorder, and I'll give you a quick orientation of all the little buttons and slots and knobs and all the things that you need to know. This is the front face. All of the information will be in here once we turn it on. This is the input selector, a series of buttons. Mic will select these mics, and the 1 and 2 will select the XLR jacks. This is your stop button. This is your play pause. This is cue backwards, cue forwards, and this is the record button. On the side, we'll see a remote socket, but you won't really use one. This is where you put your headphones in. This is your volume selector switch. Now this controls the volume of your headphones, and it does not control the volume of the recording level, so make sure you understand the difference. This is the USB port to connect to your computer. This is the on and off switch. On this side, we have a menu button, and then this controls your navigation through the menu. This is what's really important right here, record level. This determines how loud or quiet the input is, and it determines the recording level itself. This is the slot where you put an SD card, and you will use an SD card. And for an audio recorder, you don't need a really big one like you do when you shoot video. 8 gigabytes is probably good enough. Sometimes I'll use 16 if it's a long interview. But audio files are relatively small compared to video files. So I'm going to use an 8 gig. I'm going to put it in the slot. On the back, we have the battery compartment, and the battery goes in here. There's a tripod socket. You can actually mount this on a tripod. There's a socket here for an external mic, and so if you have say a little mini shotgun or a lavalier, you can plug it directly in here. So that's the other input. That's basically it. One other thing to know is that the microphones are a cardioid pattern, meaning that it generally collects sound from directly in front and a little bit to the side. And you can control the degree of capture from the side. This is set to 90 degrees, so which is kind of a right angle. And you can actually twist these to 120 degrees, and that broadens the pickup pattern. But generally, if you use these microphones and you're doing an interview, you'll want to keep it at 90 degrees because it will give you better control over off-axis cancellation, which is making sure you don't get sounds that are coming from the side, and it's more of a direct pattern. So those are the basics. Let's turn it on, and what we'll do is we'll slide and hold, and it will boot up, and it takes a little bit of time to load up. And this is the interface. When we right now it's set to the XLR inputs, which are down here, and if we were to use the mic, we would turn on the mic, and it highlights. When you go to record, you will hit the record button once, and when you hit the record button once, it is not recording, and the way you know it's recording, the numbers go, and I'll hit record, and that's when it's officially recording. But the reason why you have to hit it twice is when you hit it once, it starts giving you recording levels, and it's giving me actually pretty good recording levels. And the way to adjust the levels is right here on the side to increase or decrease the levels, and then you can see the meters respond to the changes that I make, and you can see that the recording levels are really low. In general, you want the recording levels to be right around -12, -6, which is about 2/3 of the way down the screen. Now, one thing you have to be careful of is when we get too loud, what you'll see is this light flicker. And that means you're peaking. That means you're getting distortion. And if you see this flicker, that means you need to turn down the levels. Now, it's not a bad thing for it to happen once in a while, especially if it's a random noise. But if you're seeing this consistently flicker, then you're going to want to reduce the levels to be more reasonable. Now, the reason you don't want this to go all the way towards the end is the chance of it distorting are a lot greater. To get good sound levels that you can work with, again, you want it to be right around -12. It also gives you a little bit of buffer in case there's a little bit of a loud noise. It's not going to distort. If you have it too close to the left here, where it's too quiet, then what will happen is to get that level to be higher, you're going to have to raise the level in post-production. And when you do that, it also makes the background noise louder as well. So you definitely want the recording levels to be, again, between right around -12, -6. When you're ready to record, you hit record a second time, and it's recording. When you're done, you hit stop. And then to play back, you can actually just hit play back. And stop there, and you can cue forwards and backwards. You can go from recording to recording to listen to what you have. It plays the speaker, but your best bet is to plug in headphones because you're going to get a better sense of the quality of your recording.